Hey everyone, Jeff here from TheFloatLife. I know, this board looks awesome. Best part about it? Ooh, that sweet treaded tire. How'd you get that on there? Let me tell you, why would you need a tire change? A couple different reasons. A, your original stock tire's all worn out, threads are showing, looks kind of like this. Yeah, that tire's gnarly. Or let's say you wanted to ride a tire that rides a little bit of a different profile, something more carvy, something that you can hold an edge a little better on, something a little more freestyle, something better for off-road. Those are all good reasons to change your tire. So there's a couple different ways you can go about this. Option number one, you can send it into Future Motion and they can replace the tire for you. Everything's all covered under warranty. If you're not very mechanically inclined, that might be the way you want to go. You can't get any other tire besides the stock Vega tire from them. So they'll install that for you. It is $99 for the service, but you also have to pay shipping on top of that. Elijah, what did our total come out to be? 187 bucks is what it costs to have Future Motion do it. But again, it's all under warranty. It's all super legit. You're not going to run into any issues doing it that way, but you will be without your board for a little while. That's option number one. Option number two is you can ship it into us and we'll change the tire for you. We have a few tires to choose from here, so we can do multiple tires and our turnaround is also really quick. As of today, our pricing is $50 for the labor, and you would pay for the shipping, whatever that ends up being, and then whichever tire you want, pay for the tire, we'll take care of it. If you want to send us your own tire, we can change that, or you can buy one of ours. Either way works. So we also have option number three, where you can go on StokeLifeService.com, and there's a group of people all around the world from the community who regularly work on boards, and they have very reasonable rates, and I'm sure you probably have someone pretty close to you, and you can just cruise on out to there, meet them in person, they can do the work for you right then and there. So check that out. Again, it's StokeLifeService.com. And then we have option number four, which is do it yourself. So if you're fairly mechanically inclined, you can take care of it yourself. And through this video that we're about to make right now, it's gonna be a really easy process and you shouldn't screw anything up too bad. Here we go. So for this build, we really wanted to do something that was just heavy duty off-road ripper that would just absolutely shred the trails. So we decided to go with the Burris 6-inch treaded in TX33 compound. So this is the tire that I won FloatLife Fest the last 2 years in a row on. This thing absolutely shreds on trails. So the reason why it's so good, it's got a really nice centerline flat spot from about here to here. So that really helps with the stability a ton. And then the shoulders are just profiled super nice on this one. The only thing we could ask for is maybe a little bit of a different compound, which hopefully we'll get a little bit of something to that in the future. But as of right now, this is, again, in my opinion, the best off-road one-wheel tire available. This thing is sick. So this is my favorite off-road tire, but again, tires are completely subjective. One person's favorite could be another person's least favorite, so make sure you do your research on tires. This one's solid. This is the one that we chose, so I'm gonna show you how to install it right now. Do so at your own risk. It's pretty easy. You'll be fine, but do so at your own risk. Let's go!
All right, so here's what you're gonna need. Sharp, cutty, pointy thing. 1/8 inch Allen key. 1/4 inch Allen key. Tiny little baby Phillips head screwdriver. Big old daddy flathead screwdriver. Some channel locks. A valve stem core remover comes with every box of Stay Afloat. A nylon tire lever. Don't use metal. A compressor. Little blower up guy. You can use a hand bike pump if you want, but a compressor makes it a lot easier. Wood for breaking the bead. Gloves. Magic gloves. Sorry, Mom. Tire lube. If you get in a pinch, you can use Windex or even some dish soap and some water. A refreshing ice-cold beverage. Don't forget to turn your tab so you know which beer is yours. And a koozie. Keep your beer cold and your hand warm. Here's some optional stuff. If you have an actual bead breaker, it makes it a lot easier than using wood. If you're going to use power tools, I suggest turning it to the lowest, slowest possible setting and cranking your torque settings all the way down as low as you can possibly go. That way you don't over tighten your screws, damage your board, and break something. All right, enough foreplay. Let's get to it. Strap them in. First things first, grab your 1/8 inch Allen key and remove any fender or fender deletes that you have on your board. And once you've removed your fender deletes or your fender, it's time to take your board and flip her over. Now we want to remove that front float plate by unscrewing these 4 screws here, 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 and here with our 1/8 inch Allen key. Once that front float plate comes off, it's time to remove the 2 screws on the underside that hold on the front foot pad. Flip your board over and take off the other 2 screws that hold on the front foot pad. Don't forget to stay hydrated. Now peel your front foot pad back and rest it on your tire. And remove the 2 top screws underneath your foot pad that hold on your bumper. And slide that front bumper right out. Now here's a common issue that we see. The brass inserts on the bumpers tend to crack. So this one's good, the other one has a crack in it. The problem is when they crack, those brass inserts can tend to spin and get your bumper stuck. Next, push out your plug cover from the top. It should fall right out the bottom. Now we need to remove the barrel connector from the front foot pad. It's pretty easy. We don't want to twist the bottom piece of it. We just want to twist the piece that's right by the controller module right here. Turn it counterclockwise in order to release it. First, try using your fingers. If you can't quite get it with your fingers because it's a little too snug, pull out your channel locks. Now you want to make sure that you set them to a really wide setting so that you don't pinch it. Just want to get it on there nice and easy. Get a small little counterclockwise twist in order to break it loose, and then use your fingers to remove it the rest of the way. Once it's unscrewed all the way, you want to pull it straight out. It should pop right out. Now flip that baby over, and it's time to remove the Hall sensor barrel plug. This is the exact same process as the foot pad barrel plug. Just take your channel locks, break it loose. Again, be very gentle not to pinch it because you will crush that plug. Unscrew it with your fingers and pop it straight out. Always important to be gentle with those ones. Next, we need to remove the motor plug. And so we want to pull that little white tab straight out and then push down on the black piece in order to release it and pull it out. So what I like to do is I take my screwdriver, barely tap it on the white part in order to pop it out. Don't push too hard. If you push too hard, you can break it. And if you break it, it's real expensive. So with it popped out, push your thumb down on the black piece. Put your screwdriver in between the plug and the controller module and slowly lever it out. Should pop out real easy. If you're having trouble with it, push it in, try it again. Now on the same side that you just worked on, take your Phillips head screwdriver and pull out your wire clip. Now spin that board around. And we're going to remove the top plate cover on the axle, not touching the wire clips on this side. So use your Phillips head and take out these 2 screws right here that cover the axle. Now grab your 1/4 inch Allen and on the same side, loosen your hub bolts. Now that they're loose, your plate should be loose and you can pop it right out. Spin your board around. and loosen your other 2 hub bolts. Now once those 2 are loose and the other 2 are loose, we can now remove our hub bolts completely. Now once all 4 hub bolts are out, put your hand on top of the tire, another hand on your nose, and peel the frame right off of your tire. Set it off to the side, and that's it. Now grab your Stay Afloat and crack that box open. Inside, you're going to find your bottle of Stay Afloat, and then you're also going to find a valve stem core remover tool. So this is what we're going to use in order to pull the valve stem core. So unscrew your little nubbins, put the end on the valve stem, lock it in place, twist it counterclockwise a bunch of times till your valve stem core pops right out, and that'll completely deflate your tire. Now it's time to break the bead. Take your 2 wooden blocks, set them yay far apart, put your hub right on top of them so that your axle falls in between, so that it rests firmly on the ground and doesn't wobble. Next, take your big old piece of wood and put it right there on the bead of the tire. You definitely don't want it on your rim, so then you mess up your rim. Stomp it, boom, there it goes. Do that on both sides, and that's an easy way to break your bead if you don't have a bead breaker. So there's 2 sides to the hub. You have the wire side and the non-wire side. They're both different. You pinch the tire, you can see the difference right here. The wired side just has a nice gentle slope, nothing special, but the non-wired side has a little trough, sort of a divot right there. And that's what helps us get the bead on and off of the tire. So that's what we're going to utilize right there. That's the first side to start. So if you flip to the underside, that right there is where we're going to put the bead. So grab your nylon tire lever. That's right, I said nylon. I did not say metal. Don't ever use metal. Ever use metal on here. Stick it right in onto your bead, and don't push it down and lever it just yet. We don't want to do that, or else we're going to break our lever. What we want to do is go to the opposite side of the tire, give it a pinch, get that bead right into that well, that divot, and then we want to lever it over nice and gentle. Should not take much strength. You can see I just do it with my thumb right here, real easy. Just peeled right off. Now what we want to do is keep it depressed, just like this, against the axle. Hold it with your finger. Put the palm of your hand directly on the edge of it. Take your other palm, put it right there on the hub on the opposite side, and you'll want to push straight down with your right arm and just peel it off. Super easy. You shouldn't struggle too much with it. It's just an easy finesse. Now for the other side, we want to do a similar fashion where we put the bead directly into that well and then push down, and it peels right off. Same process. And now that we got an absolutely sloppy mess on our hands, we want to clean that hub up. It's going to make our lives a lot easier moving forward, and you won't get covered in slime and ruin your new Boulder denim jeans like I've done so many times. Clean it up, good to go. Grab your tire. Ooh, wow, that's a good looking tire. So the tires come folded for shipping. We want to pop them out. So what you do, put it on your knees, grab the bead, and just open it right up. There we go, ready to install. And grab your hub and make sure you've got your wire up, and pinch that tire in between your knees. So it's nice and stable and it's not going anywhere. And you want to set your hub at a 45-degree angle, right on the center of the tire. Place your palm on the edge of it, grab it with your hand, and we want to push down as we twist with our right hand. And it should just roll right in. Then we want to flip it over, being careful of your wires again. And we want to line that paint up with our valve stem. Once we do that, we go to the opposite side, get a nice little gap in there, place our hands right about here at the edge of the gap, and we want to push straight down and forward at the same time, and it peels right onto the hub. Grab your mother effing pump. Plug that in. Boom. At this point, we turn our compressor on and we grab our tire lube. You want to squirt the tire lube on both sides of the hub where the tire bead isn't quite set yet. Pretty easy to see. We usually set ours to about 65 PSI and then let it go until they both seat. Sometimes it sets lower, sometimes it needs a little bit more. If you need to go above about 65 PSI, we suggest you take off out of the room because it does get dangerous after that point. You'll typically know when the beads are set. It'll make a loud pop, both sides. Once both your beads are set, turn your compressor off and remove it from your valve stem. Make sure you peel that sticker off and turn it into a paper airplane. It's time to install our Stay Afloat tire sealant. You want to lay your tire down with the valve stem side up, unscrew the cap, and you want to remove the safety seal. It's for your safety, not for mine. Screw the cap back on, pop that top, and grab your sharp, pokey, stabby thing. And we want to trim about 1/8 of an inch off the top of that. Not too much, or else it won't fit in the valve stem very well, and not too little, and it won't flow very well. So once that's cut, stick it on in your valve stem and squeeze it on in. So you can use half a bottle is what we usually suggest. If you want to use the whole entire bottle for extra heavy duty, that's cool too, but that's completely up to you, whatever you want to do on that one. So grab your valve core stem removal tool and pop that valve stem core back in. Just twist it clockwise, super easy, same process as taking it out. Get it nice and snug. It's compressor time, baby. Grab that hose, plug it on in, and set it to your desired PSI. Pop that compressor off, flip your wheel up, and it's time to install the frame. So you want to move the wire side towards your body, just like this. Grab the frame, put the battery side, the tail, on your left, nose to your right, and it should just lay right down on top of it. Now flip your board onto its side and align your hub bolt holes. Grab your hub bolts, stick them in your holes, and just get them finger tight. And once you get them finger tight, you want to flip it around and do the other side as well. And just get those ones finger tight. You want to make sure you catch the threads with your fingers before you really tighten it down. So now that we have all 4 hub bolts in, it's time to grab our 1/4 inch Allen key and tighten them down a little more. Don't crank them all the way down just yet. Just get them a little bit snug, all 4 of them. Now that all 4 of our axle bolts are in, but they aren't quite cranked down yet, it's time to install the axle plate cover. So flip your board over, and you'll see right here, throw it on, grab your 2 little Phillips head screws, drop them in, grab your screwdriver, and crank those down. They don't need to be super tight, but they should definitely be tight. Flip your board on its side, and crank those hub bolts down as hard as you possibly can. Time to install the motor plug again. Same process as before, just reversed. So you want to plug it in until you hear a click, and then push in the white tab. On the hall sensor barrel plug, there's a little notch that you can see right here. You want that notch to be facing the top of the board. Plug that in, give it a little push, and twist the ring closest to the controller module. And then give it another push so it seats. And then twist it all the way until it locks. You'll feel a little click. Now it's time for the controller plug cover. Really easy to install. You just line it up and push it on down and slide it into place. And you'll want to make sure that the 2 screw holes are visible when you slide it in. Now grab that front bumper and we'll reinstall this, sliding it right back into place. You'll know it's all in place when you see all of the 4 screw holes are visible. We're good. Flip her on over. And these 2 top bumper screws go in next. They're the shortest screws that you have. Use your 1/8 inch Allen key and tighten them down, being very, very, very careful not to over tighten them because you can spin the insert. Front foot pad time. Flip that board back over, and you'll actually want to tuck the barrel plug underneath the other cable and plug it in. You may have to jiggle it around a little bit in order to find the correct fit, but it slides in pretty nice. Same as the other barrel plug. Plug it in, twist it, push it in further, twist it until it locks. Lay it down and install the top 2 screws into your foot pad. Flip that board up onto its back, and it's time to reinstall the wire clip. For this, you'll just tuck it into the rail so that it's holding the wire into the rail, then slide it back until you can see the screw hole. Drop your Phillips head screw in there, grab your screwdriver, crank it down. Now it's time for the most important part of all, the float plate. Lay it on, grab your 2 longer 1-inch screws, put them in the front. Then you want your slightly shorter 7/8" screws and put those in the rear screw holes. And then once all 4 of them are in, you can tighten them down a little bit. And then once you have all 4 slightly tightened down, you can go through and crank them all down snug. Do not over tighten these. You can over tighten them, don't over tighten them. Next up is the underside of the foot pad screws. Lay those in and tighten those down. If you have trouble getting those to catch, you can always loosen the other 2 screws holding on the front foot pad and wiggle it around and get them to catch and then crank them all down. Last but not least, we need to throw on those fender deletes or your fender if that's your style. Twist them on, same way they came off. And then I don't know why I waited till the last step for this, but you need to put your valve stem cover back on. So flip your board over and screw that puppy back on.
And once that's done, you can finish your beer. Float on, my friends.